Welcome to you, my sweet, delicate little murder hobo. I'm your friendly neighborhood coroner, Dave Makes Noises, and today at Rip Daddy's house, we're laying down some tarp and asking the DMs of r/MrRip, what is something that a player did that was so badass that made you hear the Doom soundtrack? Part 1. Okay, not the DM, but the player that did this. Solo aware being with no magic items and no spells, so I was playing a level 2 Blood Hunter, a critical role class, and I took advantage of my blood rights and blood curse. The DM homebrewed the were being, still said it was unfair because it was just resistant to piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing against a level 2 party. I was dealing an additional 1d4 of fire damage from my blood right, took 1d4 damage to activate it, then I put my blood curse on the enemy at the right time because I got lucky and got a crit, so I was doing 1d8 extra and 2d4 extra damage because the blood curse I was using let me add one more dice to my right damage. I was also rolling good, and the DM was missing me a lot. I sadly had to retire that character because 16 AC was too much. I personally hated that DM, I personally hate them too, and wanted to get my revenge with a character that could get even more AC than that. And before anyone asked, yes, another player was helping me with it, but they kept missing, so all the damage was from my character alone. Oh, I have another time with that DM, but it got ruined by the DM almost railroading things because a nat 20 on intimidation using a spell to help should have done more than make it lose their turn. Sorry for making it sound like I was ranting about the DM. If this does end up a video, you can cut the parts out that involves the DM. And then I've got here in red writing from MrRipper, LOL, no, which I assume means if you're going to air your grievances in our community, then your community is going to see it. So I hope that DM is not watching. Haha, it's on you now. This was not only one player, it was the entire party, and the system was not D&D. The party was a werewolf, he just trashed things, a Nikomata alchemist a la Full Metal Alchemist, a demon swordsman, a vampire using a minigun, and a human fighter that used boots and gloves similar to the ones that Iron Man uses to fly in his armor. The party was fighting in a floating city against an omni-elemental that's changed its attribute every turn. As the battle was ending, they decided to do their combo attack since the elemental finally took a solid form, stone. The demon used a very strong slash to separate the elemental from the ground. The Nikomata pushed the elemental off the floating island they were on by moving the earth like a hammer. The vampire shot the elemental to pieces, leaving its core visible. The human went all the way to the ground while the werewolf jumped after the elemental and slashed its core as they both fell at high velocity to the ground. When the core of the elemental reached the ground, the human was ready with a superpowered punch that cracked the core in half, killing the enemy. And all of this was done at night in the moonlight of a red full moon. The player was a Fire Genasi Warlock that is in a pact with a mob boss-style demon patron. He was already badass, but what he did made it even better. Fending off a dog pile of goblins, getting eaten by an ankheg to kill it from the inside, and shooting down a wyvern that had a hold of another player. But my personal favorite was when he walked into a room full of bugbears. They were heavily armored and they were told to kill anyone on sight. The Warlock was alone and running low on health and spell slots. He then looked at me and casually said, "I cast Burning Hands." He killed all 9 bugbears in one turn. When the rest of the party found him, they looked around and asked what he was doing in an empty room. I have a 2-member party, level 6 Aasimar Paladin and a level 6 Tiefling Bard. They were trekking through thick jungle forest that encases a lost city. As they are approaching the city square, a spirit naga came slithering out from behind a dilapidated building. As the battle starts, I had a surprise attack from a wyvern, but with a twist. The wyvern came barreling down on top of the naga, grasping it in its talons. The bard becomes puzzled and holds his action near the paladin. My paladin pulls out her rope of entanglement and grasps the tail of the naga to try and break the grasp of the wyvern. Success! The spirit naga disengaged and the party is left with a rather hangry wyvern. The wyvern launches 40 feet in the air, surveying the grounded party, lets out a guttural screech, and dives for a slash with his stinger at the bard. The wyvern misses roughly 8 to 10 feet above the players. The paladin takes advantage of the situation and does a reaction strike, ending the wyvern's turn. It's now the paladin's turn. Hits on an attack with her halberd. Hell yeah, love a halberd. For the first attack, adding a level 3 smite. Hitting on her second attack with a level 2 smite, then crits while using her polearm master feat to hit with the hilt for a third attack. She smirks and uses a level 3 smite to add to this pièce de résistance. I let her describe the killing blow. Okay, So as the wyvern is 8 to 10 feet above me, I reach out with my halberd, catching its chin. I then use my momentum to drag my halberd from mouth to scrot, connecting the second attack up and over the wyvern's back, scrot to mouth. As I reach the top of his head, I do an aerial flip and strike down with the blunt end of the halberd, exploding radiant energy across the zippered dragon. I'm speechless, thinking, there's no fucking way he just zippered a wyvern for 96 points of damage. Even if something was fudged, that was a totally metal, doom-ripping moment. Not a DM, but I was playing in a game of Mutant Chronicles, a Swedish RPG that is set in a dark sci-fi setting where humans have colonized the solar system. The theme resembles Warhammer somewhat, with Earth being nuked to all hell, servants of the dark symmetry corrupting the people of the solar system and the religious brotherhood, and the mega corporations standing as the last remaining defense against this corruption and fighting the heretics and each other. We played freelancers, adventurers taking odd jobs working from our HQ on the moon in the giant super metropolis, Luna City. The amount of shenanigans we've done in this campaign could fill a library, but one particularly awesome moment happened around the middle of the campaign. We got a job where we had to sneak inside a police station of one of the megacorps and confiscate a couple important documents. Our group had just broken out of the prison of this very same police station. How we were jailed in the first place is another great story, when our employer told us to get back in there and finish our job. Luckily, we had managed to steal a couple police uniforms on our way out, so we planned an infiltration mission. The day came and we managed to sneak inside the building as 2 PCs stayed outside. One PC, played by the DM as the player was absent, faked his pacemaker getting destroyed and police brutality when he was hit by a cop, forming an angry mob of people to distract the guards. We entered through the garage of the basement floor and snuck our way to the second floor where the office was. Standing in the stairway with the closed door in front of us, we planned a breach maneuver. Unfortunately for us, whilst in the middle of planning, the door opened inward, and a surprised officer greeted us in the doorway. Following this event, 3 things happened in quick succession. First, Player 1 says, "I throw the grenade through the door, then jump backwards down the stairway." We had a special stun grenade that could knock out anyone hit by the blast. The second player, almost in sync with the first, "I closed the door." What felt like a few seconds passed as my mind processed the terrible consequences that would happen if I did nothing, so I said, "I throw my body between the door to keep it open." The first player, being a bit smarter and jumping to safety, got a bit bruised, but was otherwise fine. All the while, us other 2, along with the policeman and everyone in the room except one person, got knocked unconscious. The first player then had to solo the entire rest of the mission, had a firefight with the only conscious officer left, stole the document, then proceeded to carry 2 unconscious people down 2 flights of stairs, down a long corridor, and placed us both into a police car in the garage, all while constantly having to roll athletic saves in order to not pass out. He succeeded something like 5 saves in a row, even as a not especially fit character, and passed out right as he got all 3 of us into the car. After that, one of the people we left outside found us and drove everyone back to HQ. Mission accomplished. Does actually getting the DM to play the Doom soundtrack during a session where we staged a coup against the city's corrupt mayor/politics count? If so, what happened was this. Possible minor spoilers for Curse of Strahd. Our approximately level 5 party, consisting of the barbarian Achilles, the rogue Cassie, the monk Bo, the wizard Clarence, and my character, the sorceress Lilith, along with her love interest Irina. We aligned ourselves with this lady, name escaped me at the moment, that was against how the mayor was running the town. It was like a dystopia type shit. Anyways, so we had already accidentally killed the mayor, but his son was to take over during a festival that was soon. We made our plans, and on the day of, I asked the DM to play the Doom music once it starts, and he agrees. The rest of the session was the fight in the center of town as we kept trying to assassinate the mayor while fighting off all the guards and the people who ran the correctional facility. It was so chaotic, but so much fun, especially when my character got the final killing blow on the mayor's son while BFG Division was playing. Sorry, not DM, but I as a player playing Samuel was in a mini campaign that had waves of enemies attacking us every so often. After a few waves, my party had gotten to level 6. We took time to long rest and get ready for the next waves to come when I realized I would soon be able to get access to Samuel's mini dragon form at level 10. This prompted me to go all out and kill more enemies than my team. This became evident when, after 2 waves, I had stolen 17 goblins' deaths from my allies. Shattered is fun. They asked why I was stealing kills. I simply replied, the sooner I get to 10, the faster we win. Some of them tried to help me, while the DM and other players tried to hinder me. Once everyone was able to get leveled up, instead of outpacing people, the DM told the group we were level 10 and that the monsters we face will get harder, quickly. This didn't hinder me for a bit. First wave went like this turn order: Paladin, Rogue, me, Archer, Cleric, Wizard, Bard, Barbarian, Artificer, and a Necromancer. And we were facing 20 goblins, 4 bugbears, and 2 orcs. When it was my turn, the Paladin and Rogue successfully killed 2 of the goblins. My character, not casting a spell, drops his human form to become a medium-sized dragon with a ton of health and high dex, looks at the 2 orcs and says, "If you know what is best for you, run." As I attacked the remaining goblins with a tail swipe crit hit at max damage, smearing the goblins into a red stain on the ground, and used my other 2 attacks to finish a bugbear. Breath non-crit, claw crit. The DM rolled Constitution for the orcs and both failed and puked out their guts to my PC's pure savagery. Both ran for the hills. I stood in my dragon form for the rest of the campaign, never able to kill that many enemies again due to levels and different enemies. Player here. In the middle of our campaign's 3rd act, I decided I wanted to change characters for a while and be a plant for our big bad evil guy. I'm a fiend warlock, literally Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog. Conveniently, he revealed a secret and almost got murdered by another party member. He had indirectly murdered her family. So he left. Took some time out, made alliances, got cool magic items, and got his mojo back. While this was going on, my half-elf Way of Shadows monk, Verniath, was trying to betray the party, leading them to a location that the BBEG could access and steal the MacGuffin from them. The confrontation with the BBEG happened on a mass of floating pirate ships above our hub city, High Deep. When the BBEG took the MacGuffin, a book of knowledge, from our ranger, and Verniath had got the hell out of there after the party tried to kill him, I decided it was time to try and be badass. I put on Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin, the one that's used in Thor Ragnarok, and told the players how you see a streak of purple light emanating from the dark clouds above that sped down at a thunderous pace. My character then tries to stab the big bad evil guy with his new sword, filled with positive energy, a rumored way to defeat him. Given it's a surprise attack, I had advantage. It worked. I didn't kill him, but I hurt him. And the big bad evil guy watched in surprised amusement as a sword stuck out from his skin, hate and power broiling in my eyes. I look to the group as the big bad evil guy flies off and say, with a wicked grin, "Looks like you needed a friend on the other side." Badass? I hope so. All right, my beloved, precious, darling bringers of bloodshed and woe, thank you for beating the ever-loving snot out of this video right on through to the very end, no less. If you've had a Doom Guy moment that you want to spray all over us, feel free to eviscerate the comments section below. If you've got another story that you're aching to share with the community, please hack and slash your way over to our official subreddit, r/MrRipper, where we collect stories just like these for videos just like this. If you're a DM or player looking for a party with whom to slaughter the demon hordes yourself, you may wish to prepare your sacrament and commence the ancient ritual for joining MrRipper's Group Finder Discord server, which, of course, begins with clicking the link below. I hope this week that you make time to let off some steam. Go do something badass that you'll never forget. If you love me and want me to be happy, feel free to pop on over to my Twitch and give me a follow. I'm Dave Makes Noises across all platforms. Thank you for helping us cleave our way to the top of another brilliant, bloody pile of adventures and entrails. We love you here at Rip Daddy's house. Please sub for Nat 20s. Ring the notification bell for advantage on your next charisma check. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.